Many people say the Bible is anti-women. I think the exact opposite. People will take certain passages, isolate them, and in themselves look at those passages, it sure might seem that the Bible's against women. But I think if we take a step back and look at the bigger themes of the Bible and the context of those passages, it's actually the Christian story, and Jesus in particular has the most liberating and powerful message that truly values women. And some people will say, well, look, the woman is created to help man. She's a second afterthought to man. But I don't think that's a message of Genesis. The biblical story in Genesis climaxes with the creation of the woman. Each day it gets progressively more complex, and you could argue more important and significant. God's not done until he creates a woman, and it's as if God says, all right, I got it. I can't create anything better. So the idea that from the beginning the Bible demeans women is simply mistaken. In fact, when it describes a woman as the helper, it doesn't mean someone who just simply helps a man and does whatever he desires. It's actually, the original language is more of an equal partner to help them accomplish the task together that God has assigned them to do. So to get to the heart of whether or not Christianity demeans women, it makes sense to look at the teachings and the example of Jesus. So let me ask you a question. Of all the major religious figures in history, who would you trust your daughter or your sister or a close female friend that you care about? Would you trust her with Muhammad, Joseph Smith, who had at least 33 wives? And would you trust Charles Taze Russell, one of the founders of Jehovah's Witnesses, who is accused of child molestation? Jesus stands apart as a religious figure who valued women. He had every opportunity with women around him who traveled with him, who were vulnerable, and he only showed the highest dignity and respect to women. And remember, in that culture, women were inferior to men. This was a patriarchal culture where women didn't have equal status. He even had a ministry. You just read the Gospels and pay attention to how many times Jesus cares for women. It's really quite remarkable, especially given the status that women had in that culture. Think of the woman who touched him, who had been bleeding for years and found no cure. What did Jesus do? He stopped and took the time to heal her and care for her. We see with the woman at the well in John 4 that Jesus stops, and first he speaks to a Samaritan who was not a Jew, and second to a woman. And he shows love and grace and mercy to this girl. Even on the cross, when Jesus was dying, he says, care for my mother. This is not to say that there aren't some difficult passages in the Bible that we need to deal with. But it's important to look in the context of what the Bible really teaches, the time, culturally what's taking place. When we do that, we'll see that the Bible, in fact, does not demean women. When we look at the example of Jesus, we see clearly a man who showed nothing but love and concern and compassion, the highest amount of care for women. As his followers, we should do the same.